56-5-2. 38 KOs. The WBO 147-pound welterweight champion, Emmanuel Manny Dapadran Pacquiao. September the 20th, 2014, I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, where we're going to talk about some boxing. More importantly, Showtime All Access, the Epilogue, the last episode of Showtime All Access, Mayweather versus Maidana 2. It's the one that comes on after the fight, the week after the fight, and they usually play it around the time of the replay. So, let's talk about that passive-aggressive episode. If you haven't seen it, how can I put it? There are many things we got to talk about in this video. We got to talk about the money. We got to talk about Manny Pacquiao. We got to talk about the money tooth. We got to talk about all the outside distractions, because now it's time, the numbers, because now it's time to wrap all of this up. So normally, my routine, I'm T Street Controversy. The show is T Street Controversy Live because it is unedited and it's uncut. So no matter what time of the day is, tired or not, even if I got blood in my eyes, the strain or whatever you want to call it, I cover boxing. Every single episode of HBO 24/7 and every single episode of Showtime All Access and every single Major Fight Live. So now that we got that all out of the way, if you want to see the episode as soon as it's available, it'll be right down below. Link right there. Real Combat Media is the first link. And then the link below that, I have a Facebook page. You got to send a friend request. I'm not telling you to do it just for nothing. Anyway, this is the way I look at it. Now, let's talk about the money tooth. Let's talk about the money tooth. And let's talk about how I'm Floyd Money Mayweather 47-0 with 26 knockouts. The WBC, WBA, and ring 147-pound champion. The WBC, the WBA, and the ring, no, the WBA Super World. I got to make sure he got both of the Super World belts, 154-pound champion. So, if you don't know, this fight had both WBC titles on the line and the WBA 147-pound title on the line. Now, with that comes both Ring Magazine titles. So, you have Marcos Maidana, who fought the first fight for what? One belt, and then lost, and now he's fighting for all the guts and glory. Now, here's the situation. If you haven't heard, Floyd Mayweather is thinking about changing camp, or he has threatened to change his team, the money team. Leonard Ellerby, poor old Rafael Garcia, you know, the old man with all like the buttons on his hat. You know, he didn't retire because Floyd then took away his only meaning in life. And I'm just saying, because all he wanted to do ever in life was just wrap Floyd Mayweather hands, and he's been doing it since like 2000 or 2001 and something like that. So Floyd just, basically dismissed him and said, no, you're still going to get the same pay, but like you're done with the hand wrapping, basically. And he said his hands never felt his hands never felt that good in his life. So Leonard Ellerby, now people have always wondered, like, who is this guy? What is he? And to me personally, I gotta be honest with you, he seems like some type of freak. When I look at him, I think to myself, like, okay, what is his purpose? Where did he come from? Now, we know he's been around with Floyd Mayweather since Floyd Mayweather was Pretty Boy Floyd. But here is the thing, he reminded me of like D'Lo Brown, or he reminded me of like a pro wrestler, like but he like never good, like he was the Nation of Domination or something. Like, he just reminded me of like a gimmick, a character, like when I see, like how can I put it? He got his own search engine for his goatee. Once you type in L-E, then you finish spelling out Leonard, then you hit the space bar, then you go E-L, and then they just fill in L-B goatee. And then you click and you go to images and news. If you click on Google and news, you see all these goatees, and you see that shit just fucked up. And I asked myself, okay, if you're in a faction, because that's what I look at it, a faction called the Money Team, you can't be walking around representing no company looking like that. Not with no, you see that on his face? It's like growing into his mouth. What is going on in the world? And don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. But realistically, like, what does he do? There's been rumored that he's got some type of degree in God knows what. I don't know if he was a boxing trainer or a strength and conditioning coach. Like, have you ever thought about what the hell does Ellerby do? Now, all of a sudden, within the last 6 months, I would say, okay, 6 months to a year, you've seen him step into the limelight with all these like flashy, dashy, I don't know, suits, like they're not Men's Warehouse. How can I say? Like those old pimps, but he seemed like he got like 2014 pimp suits. But you see him and he stepped to the forefront. He's the primary speaker at the press conferences. He's selling the fight. And basically, let's just call it what it is. He is the CEO of Mayweather Promotions. So if we don't know, or if you don't know, I know, that Mayweather Promotions just became Mayweather Promotions. So meaning they just got their promotional license. So I'm asking myself, excuse me, I'm asking myself, is Leonard Ellerby, was he just told like, yeah, you're going to be the CEO? But was he the CEO of nothing? And is there any paperwork that says he's the CEO? And that's that right there makes you think some things, right? That makes you think some things. What else would Leonard Ellerby do without the money team? Without Mayweather Promotions? But, I'm sick of talking about him. I mean, do I care if he's going or not? No, but do I feel, this is how I feel. He's been around for quite some time. Now, when I think about the things that Floyd Mayweather is upset about, as far as Leonard Ellerby making decisions without him, I consider this to be a threat. But don't get it twisted. Leonard Ellerby is not gone yet. People are saying he's fired and everything, and people are trying. People have tried to reach out to him, but he's not picking up his phone. I'm sorry, something just scared the shit out of me. You know what the fuck that was. Anyway, I look at it like this. Going forward, Mayweather said he has a surprise for me. And we're going to talk, no, matter of fact, we got to talk about the money tooth first. Let's talk about the money tooth. Now, there's been a lot of skeptics. There's been a lot of naysayers. There's been a lot of angry people. When I say Floyd Mayweather got his teeth knocked out. Now, when I say teeth, I'm talking about how it would be exaggerated if Marcos Maidana had got the money tooth or the Argentine tooth knocked out. Now, the reason why I call it the money tooth is in the spring, the late summer, early fall of 2013, Floyd Mayweather had a tooth extracted. This tooth was infected. In that same spot is just so happened where if you watch the fight in HD, and many of you did, now don't lie to me, and a lot of you may have watched the fight with a group of people, or a lot of people, and you're not able to fully look at the details, and like analyze for yourself. But watching in HD and having the power to be able to zoom in, and then use my HD camera and take a picture, there was something missing over here. It was missing. So when you go back to the third round, and after he took that punch, that Manny Pacquiao knocked out sleep punch from Juan Manuel Marquez, what do you see? You see something fly out. But then this is why I say you got this passive aggressive all access. They showed a punch, but then that was it. They don't talk about, Floyd Mayweather being stunned or what they did, address it a little bit, but they didn't address what popped out of his mouth, and let alone they didn't let Paulie Malignaggi say, or they didn't put that into the cut when Paulie Malignaggi say, like, what is that, a tooth? Now here's the thing. You said it was spit. If you watch All Access, go back and watch the clip, and when they showed a punch, it went up and then it came down, like spit don't come down. Listen to me. It was a tooth. So even though I know that it was a cap, you might as well say, it's still the point of what that cap have been knocked out 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. No. So if you look at the type of person Floyd Mayweather is, and if you look at the social media generation, if that was another fighter, even if it's cap or not, they'd say he got his tooth knocked out. Simple as that. So I'm going to get off of that. We're going to say, do you think the pay-per-view was a success? Here's what they're saying. 925,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, I said myself that, oh, by the way, the numbers were unofficially released. So you think about that. So I said to myself, the numbers for Saul Canelo Alvarez, Mayweather and Alvarez, came out on the 19th of 2013. And the fight, if I'm correct, was at the 14th. So basically what I'm saying is they both came out in the same time, 1 year apart. But here in this case, I'm trying to think. You got big media people saying that they predicted the pay-per-view wasn't going to do that good. Me personally, I predicted the pay-per-view was going to do over 1 million just because of the selling point of you almost missed Floyd Mayweather lose because y'all thought he was going to class Maidana. Now this may be your last chance to see him. So everybody like, oh yeah, that's the guy, Floyd fought before and he almost beat him, yada, 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 yada. But I just don't, how can I put it? It doesn't seem like, how is 925,000 being celebrated for him? And don't get me wrong, it is big numbers. I still think Carl Fries versus George Groves too, even though if it's not here, we're talking about global. Still, if I'm correct, did more pay-per-view buys, but I don't know. I'll check on that. But let's say it is the biggest event of the year. This is a man who a year ago was telling us, no, he's not doing 1 million pay-per-view buys. He don't do the buys I do. 1 million households every fight. And it was being shoved down our throats to the point where it was like, I'm not going to fight him because you don't do these pay-per-view buys. I'm not going to fight him because you don't do these pay-per-view buys. But then you'll fight a Robert Guerrero who don't do those pay-per-view buys. Then you'll fight a Marcos Maidana who don't do those pay-per-view buys. And I think you fight a Victor Ortiz who don't do those pay-per-view buys. So I think when I look at the carousel of all this shit that Floyd Mayweather's been telling us, now I know better, and people just eat it up. For example, I don't need endorsements. I can make 70 million in 36 minutes. The reason why Mayweather can't have endorsements is because he does off the wall shit. You never know when he's gonna say something he's not supposed to be saying. That Ray Rice, he says something at least every 6 months that endorsements like, oh, we gotta cut you. He's too unstable. But he makes you think that's cool. He don't need no endorsements. And yes, that's true. But still, it's just like, wait a minute, those are still millions of dollars right there. Then people say, well, Pacquiao was getting robbed by Floyd. Don't have no main. He don't have no endorsements. Say what you want. Somebody of his caliber should be in video games, on cereal boxes. Have his own sneaker. And listen, he's still with Reebok, but guess what? They'll never put his ass on a commercial or nothing. No. But he said this is all stuff you can go find out out there on your own. And when you look at his departure via social media from Golden Boy Promotions, I sat up here for months and I had to deal with people saying, no, he's got a plan. Al Heyman, Schaefer, and Mayweather, they're going to team up. They're going to they took all Oscar's fighters. Oscar is done. I sat up here for a couple of months and said, he's going to go back. Who else is he going to go? Then I started doing some research, and this is the type of stuff people criticize me for when I say I already knew he had to go back. That date in the MGM Grand was reserved for Golden Boy Promotions, not Floyd Mayweather. So what I'm saying is that you got those two incidents right there. You got the incident the week of the fight where he said he's not defending all of his titles, when clear as day they said, no, you defended all your titles, and we found out that night. The glove situation. Here's what happened with the gloves. In the contract, Robert Garcia did not discover it until, I believe, the day before the weigh-in. In the contract, it said they would be fighting with 10-ounce gloves, 10-ounce power lock gloves that are not Marcos Maidana's Everlast and Max gloves. Now, what I'm saying, wait, what's the, they're not everlasting, but what I'm saying is this. Not only was it in the contract for Marcos Maidana not to use his gloves, but to fight with a bigger, larger pair of foam orthopedic gloves. So when you look at that, you say, okay, all right, well, they're fighting for a 154-pound title, so that requires 10-ounce gloves, and you think like that's some slick shit right there. You go back to All Access, and you go back to the day when he was checking the gloves, and it was like, you remember that scene where Floyd Mayweather was like, we're not gonna pull no slick shit on you, don't try to pull no slick shit on us. And you go look at that contract situation, you're like, you get what I'm saying? So you think about what was Mayweather Promotions before. I believe they got their license July the 23rd. What was Mayweather Promotions before that? What was Mayweather Promotions a year ago? It was just a name, remember? So all that time he was screaming out Mayweather Promotions, Mayweather Promotions, Mayweather Promotions. It was just a name. So what I'm saying is there's a pattern of him telling people shit and people just believing it, and people who not in the know, and they just go spreading all this shit around. And I'm going somewhere with this. Now, Mayweather, I'm my own boss. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody, I pick my fights. Al Heyman picks his fights, and thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you graciously, Al Heyman. Thank you so much. Al Heyman picks his fights. Al Heyman puts together the events. Al Heyman puts together the venue. Al Heyman is the most powerful promoter, if not the most powerful promoter in the nation, maybe in the world. And that's just, we're not going to get into him. So that's another thing where it's like people say, but he's his own boss. But then what will Floyd do? He goes and posts a check that says Golden Boy Promotions. That shit don't say Mayweather Promotions. Say Golden Boy Promotions to Mayweather Promotions. So who's writing the checks? In America, that's who the boss is, the person who's writing the checks. So, of course, this is going to seem like a Mayweather spew video, but no, it's not. It's me educating the masses because it's too much bullshit going around. I can go on all day about, all the contradictions, but I'm going to focus on the biggest contradiction of all. He was the one that started all those rumors about Manny Pacquiao. Now, if President Obama say, such and such did this, everybody gonna be like, oh, because it's Obama, so he wouldn't. Floyd Mayweather was started accusing Manny Pacquiao because he wouldn't take the blood test and all that. And hey, like I said, I'll say it right here, right in front of you. Do I believe Manny Pacquiao was doing something? Maybe. I mean, he was a sinner. Oh, no, he sinned. Oh, but he's found Jesus. So, when you think about how did all that steroid allegations and everything start, when you think about why he was accusing him, and when you think about the person that was Manny Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach, if anybody would give him steroids or any performance-enhancing drugs, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if it would have been anybody, it would have been him. So that, as far as the people who believe and accuse Manny Pacquiao of being on performance-enhancing drugs, they always speak of Alex Ariza. Even with that infamous video, that infamous interview with Radio Raheem, when you see Freddie Roach talk about the secret juices and shapes, Alex Ariza giving him, and then go over to Pacquiao like what you drinking, him like, nah, dog, talking about promoter Freddie. So when you see that Alex Ariza is now in his camp, you think like hypocrite once again. But yet people soak it all up. When it first happened, when that picture first came out, with Mayweather stretching, it's like, no, that's Photoshopped. No, that's Photoshopped. That's digitally, that's alien technology. That's what. Now listen. The man gets a tooth knocked out. No, that's digitally enhanced. That's James Cameron through CGI. Like, it's like it gets crazy. It gets crazy. But when you think about like what's left, and I already made the decision. I have made the pledge that if Floyd Mayweather fights Amir Khan, he will not get he will not get my $75. And it's not, listen, Amir Khan is skilled, but Amir Khan hasn't fought nobody. Alright? So when you talk about Luis Carlos Molina, and Julio Diaz, and he still got Danny Garcia and Lamont Peterson problems, he can't even fight Kell Brook because Kell Brook got assassin problems. You know, and Kell Brook, I would like to see Kell Brook against Floyd Mayweather. But that's just me. It's just me. You know, when you fight a guy like Floyd Mayweather, you have to get to him through hard work and dedication. Marcos Maidana got to Floyd Mayweather through hard work and dedication. Look, I was going to say, Castillo, he was supposed to win the fight. Marcos Maidana came close to defeating Floyd, and you probably don't understand what I mean by that, and I'm not going to explain. But as far as the history books go, you know, when Floyd was Money Mayweather, Marcos Maidana came the closest. And Marcos Maidana is the person who now put the question mark on his career. Floyd Mayweather said it himself. He's got 72 minutes left. 72 minutes left of that Showtime contract. Will he? 72 minutes. 30 says only 2 fights, ladies and gentlemen. 72 minutes to make about, let's say if he don't fight Pacquiao, to make about another 100 to 150 million maybe. No, actually probably not even that. I'm going to say 60 to maybe about 100 million maybe. Because you know why? When you don't generate a certain amount of pay-per-view buys, Showtime expects like some type of return on their investment. Now, say what you want about all your crunching numbers and everything. I say it like this. If they sign Mayweather to a 200 and something million dollar contract, they want $1 billion back in some type of way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying that exact number, but what I'm saying is that he was signed to do 1 million buys per pay-per-view. So when you look at the fact that all this shit that's been going on, he's been involving himself in, and people say, you know, it's just publicity to sell a fight, you think like, well, you should have got a goddamn 1 million buys doing all that with all this bad publicity you brought in. You know, it's got to be Manny Pacquiao next. I mean, really. Now, talking about both networks are getting together. That's behind the scenes rumors that both of the networks are getting together. Both of the networks are working together and they're going to make the fight. And I say this, Showtime should want to make this fight. Simple as that. Because if you say, okay, all right, 1 of 4 out of pay-per-view, literally one of Mayweather, 1 of 4, only 1 of 4 has reached 1 million pay-per-view buys, and that was Alvarez, and that went well above, over double. But the point I'm trying to make is, if they get Pacquiao, you know how much money that is. Look, let's say 2 fights with Mayweather and Pacquiao. You know how much money that is? The first one can generate somewhere between 200 and 350 million maybe. Then a rematch, you can cut that down by what? Maybe 40%, 50% still. You're still making 2 fights. You're bringing in 500 to 600 million in revenue. Listen to me, $500 million in revenue. That means Pacquiao can get 100, Floyd can get 200, and then they get, listen, that's just too much money. I don't care who you are, what record, TBE, that's too much money. That's too much money, team, to leave on the table. Too much. Floyd Mayweather is slipping, ladies and gentlemen. We never seen him in that way. And I'm not saying that that he still won't be a great fighter. I'm saying Floyd Mayweather can fight till he's about 45. But I'm not saying it, but he'll take some losses along the way, maybe 2. You know, if Floyd Mayweather fought 6 more fights, I think he would take 2 losses along the way. Because he fought the fight he was supposed to fight, but it was a certain fear in him fighting that fight against Marcos Maidana. You know, once Marcos Maidana got one punch, Mayweather went to grab him, hold him. And then the moving was excessive. And then he had the referee on the side. I look at it like this. You know, when Michael Jordan used to play in Chicago, don't expect to get no calls. You know, Michael Jordan can travel. Michael Jordan can push Ron Ross. You know, he can push you. And then the same thing with Mayweather. You got to work against that. Just like Marcos Maidana had to work around the gloves. Got to work against that. Now, as far as how I view, if it's not Pacquiao, I don't know who it can be. People are calling for Keith Thurman. I would love to see Keith Thurman. But that would be a fight we would get if they just said, you know what, let's give the fans just a regular fight, you know. Like, there won't be no marketing behind that. I mean, you can't sell that fight realistically. People can talk like, well, he sold Robert Guerrero and he sold Marcos Maidana. No, Robert Guerrero was known before he was in 147 against Celso Gaidin and Andre Berto. He was known before then. Keith Thurman is still, he just graduated from that prospect. Let's not forget, it was Julio Diaz and then Jesus Soto Carras. You know, but then when you look at all the guys, like for example, if Keith Thurman was the beat up Amir Khan in December, which is not going to happen, or if he was the beat up maybe even Devin Alexander, you know, beat up, you know, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just throwing names like Adrian Broner or somebody of that caliber in the Heyman stable, or even move up, you know, and fight Iris Landilar. You know, something like that, you know, then I say, okay, all right, Mayweather. But you get Amir Khan who's trying to fight Jose Zito Lopez, and that's a good fight. But all you're watching that fight for is to see, you know, and just to hope that he don't get knocked out. But before I end this video, I'm going to say this. Listen, if you don't know, Floyd Mayweather is, he's got to appear for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Why? Because of the doghouse rules. And he's a promoter. Remember, he's a promoter. He can't have people boxing illegally. You just get your license, you got people boxing illegally, let alone kids. You know, and so not to mention that, you know, you got the marijuana on all access. It's like, why would y'all allow that? He's a boxer. Why would y'all air that? So did you know why people didn't come out with him? You know, did you know why? Like, damn, he didn't come up with nobody, no Triple H, you know, no Justin Bieber, you know, no Lil Wayne. Why? Because there's like, you know, Warren Buffett. It was like, oh, he tripping. Stay away from him. First, you know, the Ray Rice comments. It's like, all right, cool. But then, you know, the weed, you know, and then the doghouse is like, yo, we can't, like, you reckless. Simple as that. But, you know, I'm T Street, and also, you know, Justin Bieber going out there with him. You know, people like, oh, he supports Stat and all that. Nah, Bieber like, I'm standing in the back. If I'm correct, Bieber was supposed to sing the national anthem. But that dude with the flute killed it. That white-looking flute thing. Long story short, I'm T Street Controversy, getting a little tired. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe. I cover every single major fight live. You can find an episode right below. You know, just click Real Combat Media. Also, I do a live show, Google Hangout, every single week. I'm going to try to do it. And basically, that's live streaming when we talk about boxing, whether you like me or hate me. We can talk about boxing, and you know, you can ask questions and all kind of things like that. T Street Controversy Live.